My name is Publow. In this shed, I work with wood and I try to create little things that are fun. I've learned that nature has a lot to offer, and particularly when you're up in hardwood country, up in the northern part of Michigan, there are so many beautiful stands of wood that have been around for many, many decades. Beautiful maple and birch and cherry and apple and all of this. And it's fun to get something there and then cut it apart with the chainsaw, mount it up on the lathe and start turning it to see what the grain looks like and you know what's kind of fun with it. And it's very, very interesting. I do enjoy that part of it a lot. The work that is being done today is absolutely phenomenal. And the first time I actually held a piece and got to feel a piece that an individual had done was very impressive to me. And I really wanted to have a piece of that. In fact, the first piece I ever bought right here was this off of a friend of mine who I just walked to his house, introduced myself, and said, I just saw your work in a gallery. He's here in Las Vegas, and I just wanted to say hi because I am so impressed with your work. He said, well, come on in. And he walked around. Now this thing weighs, I don't even know if it weighs an ounce, but it's made from a maple burl, and it probably is not 1/8 of an inch thick. So then I started looking at more and more pieces and kept visiting him and talking about wood all the time. And then finally he let me start working on it. And so that's what I've been doing lately. And when he passed away this last year, we became such good friends that he gave me his equipment and his wood. So I'm going to try to continue his legacy, but I have a long way to go. With woodworking, and I talked to a great woodworker today who owns a shop here in town, and he was saying, we don't do this for the money. Not about the money, you know. Like, what would you put a value on something like this? He probably put 100 or 200 hours into this thing. So at $10 an hour, you're going to sell this for $1,000, $2,000, maybe to the right person. But it's a hard sell. Any kind of piece that you work on, you have to think about what the end product is going to look like. And so for me, Nelson might have been a little bit different. He has lots of papers of sketches that he's made of, this is what I want it to look like, this is what the design is. He went through the engineering process of how am I going to put all of these little pieces together so that they make that perfect circle. And so that when I turn it, everything will just fit beautifully, look beautifully, and there'll be no mistakes on it. So you come up with your original design, okay? Then you look for the wood that complements that design. Because you see in the pieces of wood that you have, how do you get you have the form, how do you get the pieces of wood to kind of emphasize that form? You know, how do we have it so that whether you look inside or whether you look outside, you're able to, you know, kind of be impressed by this form. And then the challenge, of course, is the laborious work to cut those hundreds and hundreds of pieces. And you have to get them perfectly sanded, perfectly straight, all the angles perfect, glue them together piece by piece, segment by segment, and eventually put it together and then put it on the lathe and go to work and then start the finishing process where you sand it 4 or 5 different times, put different lacquers and waxes and everything on it to make that perfect little. And then the best part is when at the very end it didn't blow apart, nothing happened, it actually looks good, and you sign your name on the bottom. And that's the real joy. This became a really good source of using my mind, using my creativity, honoring a great friend of mine. So it's been a real game changer for me in retirement. So it's been great. You know, I don't really have a goal. I want to be so good at it that someday I'll come up with my very own idea that people will look at and go, oh, that's a Chris Publow work right there. I can see the signature on it. And right now I'm having a tough time keeping up with what everybody else is doing in the field. And it's part of the learning curve. You know, the 10,000 hours you got to spend to be good at something. I'm about 3,000 in. I got a long way to go. I hope I live that long. I love to do what I do because in one respect, it really honors a friend of mine. And I think about destiny. And it also gives me an opportunity to make something that when someone looks at it, they go, ooh, that's nice.